Alright, I know this is a little late, by a lot late, but this is the Invoker list in which I took to Daily Max TOP and I played in the Vegas Regional. This is what I would consider a Bandai built deck for the most part. The main shell of the deck is going to be about the same, 30 plus cards, so it just comes down to variations and tweaks. As we saw, Justin Reyes won with a more Gogeta heavy variant, while I was playing more of the Invoker Catastrophic Blow build. And I'll go into the differences of why I chose this version and the strengths between each one. So start off quickly with the leader. Most people, for some reason, thought that you had to take a life immediately every time you use this. That's not the case. So just the ability to cycle away any extra card for 5k and a draw is really good for the early games, especially in combination with wearing this together. The reason why I played 3 of this was so you could just keep picking it back up, and the only real way to actually plus with your leader was to pick this up, then discard and rinse and repeat. That way you just kept picking up the fodder, throwing away, and getting a new card each time. Now this backside for the leader, in my opinion, is the strongest for any Invoker build, just because you either use as just a hard draw 3 or the ability to look at somebody's hand or rip away something important while drawing a card. Very powerful stuff. Obviously different situations call for a different use of the effect, but it's very flexible, and depending on the situation you can either blow your opponents out, you hit them with a mind read. Like I sniped Gogeta 7s out of people's hand when they were setting up. You can just tell if they're trying to set up the sparking for it, that's their line of play and during mid-battle. Or you can pick up roll combinations of Death Beam, a Catastrophic Blow, or a Tyranny's Costs, just in mid-combat to either tase a creature, stop a future play from coming into battle, anything like that. Super flexible leader, and the deck was just extremely fun to play. You can kind of consider like a blue-white control deck from Magic. Alright, so first off, we're going to start off with the field spell. It's going to just 4 Tournament Power Arenas. You got to have the Tournament Power Arena. I'm actually going to clear this off and then we'll just go in one section at a time. Just wanted to leave the video or the deck list out in case nobody wanted to watch the video. Just wanted to see what the deck list looked like. Make it a little bit easier on some people's. Shoutouts to Robbie and Colin though for being able to get me the foils for this deck right before Nats, excuse me, Tournament Power and Vegas. Came in with the flex, also for Ben Ferris letting me borrow some of the foils like Topos and the super combos. Alright, so for starters, 4 Tournament Power Arena. Everybody knows what this card does, especially since I made a big fuss about it. Not gonna lie, I made a fuss about the official wording for this, but I mean the ability to look at the top 3, either put rearrange them on top or bottom. Not being able to split the piles kind of sucked, but hey, it's whatever. You can play through it, it's fine. It's still an extremely powerful card. The fact that all of my red-blue energy exhaust is no longer there, and being able to stack my deck and using the extra cards such as this as additional draw spells was insane value. Alright, up next, we got the one of All Too Easy in the main board. It helped me for the hedging Gohan matchups in game 1. I didn't really want to just give up a game 1, and this acting as 2 negates, or worst case, you can pitch it to leader effect to draw a card, and then use it as a late game negate, say pick up an All Too Easy, and then use it as pitch fodder for, or not All Too Easy, wear this together, the board wipe, and then pick it up and use that as pitch fodder for that. Now, some people could crucify me this. I only played 1 Whis. Some games I didn't even care to really find the Tournament Power. It's not like it's a mandatory, if you don't find it, you'll lose the game. And I didn't want to devote extra deck space to just finding the tournament and just having kind of dead air after I already had one on board. And you'll see later what I ended up replacing the other Whis with. I know people usually play 2 or 3 of them. One of the win conditions in the deck was the Dash Pack Son Goku. It was good against Janemba, or if your opponent just tapped low and didn't have the Champa available or a Time Magic, you can get easy 7 swings with this. And if they're staring at 3 life or even 2 life, then anything else I had on board, it becomes lethal after that many negs to the leader, and at that point you're just playing a baby deck. Alright. Alright, so I played Smoke Dragon over Apex. I personally prefer Smoke in a lot of decks. The card just does it all. Still just a win con by itself by milling, which I did get quite a few mill victories off of this. I didn't go for the catastrophic blow games in the matches where nobody was hurting themselves, so I just sat there and milled them out. You can warp, and in the games where they were going to low, I would just end up warping their hand with Black Smoke Dragon, and then just swing leader 15. They can't combo obviously with no hand. At that point, you just move the ham sandwich. Anything you had was a lethal swing when they have no hand. So you could just chip away every turn at your opponent while holding up a condemnation and keep warping their entire hand away. I don't know. I felt like it performed really well, but I know some people love the Apex. And the Apex is better into the Gogeta variation, because an Apex followed by a Gogeta will usually just win you the game. But also the same thing kind of happens with a Black Smoke after you Gogeta them. Gogeta followed up by Black Smoke, just warp their hand into oblivion, then you can win from there. I played 3 of the Ultra Instincts on Goku Energy Explosions. You gotta have the win con for the Cataclysmic Blow. Only him and the Dash Pack can turn on the Cataclysmic, unless I wanted to pay the whole 5 for it. But in some games, I only could use one Catastrophic because I ran out of leader effect and I had to warp and discard the others in the early game. I mean, his auto is still just damage. I had this on top of I had this on play one turn, the next turn I just set up this, and that was 4 damage. My opponent was at 4 life. He couldn't take a hit this entire time because of this trigger. So it still works in that essence. It's not a dead card without Catastrophic Blow. It just makes every single one of your cards have double strike, like once per turn. Or double strike, quad strike, whichever. Now the blue-red cards that go hand in hand with the Invoker deck in the nutshell are the Catastrophic Blows, the Emperor's Death Beam, and then your Royal Condemnation. I didn't like running forward because it is a dead card early game. I mean, sure, the argument is you could cycle it, but why put the dead space in there just to cycle it when I can put something irrelevant? You only need to really resolve about 2 or 3 maximum in the game for the Catastrophic Blow to win you the game, so I kept with 3 just for numbers. Now the best taser in the game, the Activate Bottleneck 30. Pretty much would kill everything except for anything blue-green Piccolo Swing because of cell-destroying Kamehameha, and that will pump them up, plus Beans will make them over the 30 margin at worst case, and this just becomes 1 mana 30k combo. I mean, who doesn't love 1 mana 30k combo except for boot players with their 0 mana like 50k combo? So the ability to just shoot anything and then use it as a draw spell later, this card was probably my favorite next to Royal Condemnation that entire weekend. It answers almost everything. Gogeta 7, leader ability, pick this back up, shoot their Gogeta 7. It's like you didn't lose anything. I got Gogeta 7 and I still hadn't awakened, used my leader effect, everything like that. So I was able to go from 3 cards to 9 cards and clear his board off all in the same turn. So as long as you can play around Gogeta 7, you should be fine for the most part with it. Now the best denial in the game pretty much says no to almost every secret except for Demigra and Cell SCR. But against Cell SCR, just successor decks, you just keep their board clear the entire time. Then that card is worthless. In combination of this, Death Beam, and wearing this together, you can keep cells off really easily. And anything super impactful, say a Vegeta SCR, the opponent's Apex, you can even Royal Condemnation a Black Smoke Dragon if your opponent has 12 in the drop since he's 5 in hand. Just the biggest nope spell that can also end up being your draw spell later. I played 1 combination attack because with an Invoker on board, it becomes a essentially free removal spell and a different name for you to pick back up with leaders. So you can pick up a Death Beam, a Royal Condemnation, and a combination attack as your 3 separate names, and that way you have 2 activate battles to stop 2 attacks, and then the biggest denial in the game. We played 4 Vegeta Invokers, pretty standard. If you're going to play an Invoker deck, you're going to want 4. This card is just can't interact with it easily, and it requires specific answers to get him off the board. Now, I mean, it sucks when people kill him or remove him, then all your spells are full cost, but if you're slamming these for like 2 turns and your opponent spends their entire turn answering it, then you're at 6 mana already to cast a 6-drop Invoker. Then they're probably either out of removal spells or you're just winning the game off playing the 6-drop, and they're going in catastrophic blows. We play a 2 Tyranny's cost as just 1 mana draw 2. So I actually did get the second effect off of making him go back down to 10. Like I was playing against Hatchiag. I just hardcast it for 2. We had 13 cards in hand. I was like, okay, I guess I draw 2, make you discard 3. That's just a very good generic spell. It's fine for 2 mana, and it's even better for 1 mana. It's just a nice pickup of leader ability when you need to start digging harder. Now the things I replaced the additional Weeses with were the Frieza's Death Embrace. This deck doesn't really have any general combo power, so the 1 mana just 10k combo constantly, or just to shoot all of your opponent's battle cards for 10k in mid combat, insane. Also helps keep off leader pressure, since obviously you don't run that much combo. This is also a mirror breaker. Your opponents have to spend a turn or a death beam on this, or you just start winning the game with just leader swing 10k combo. Eventually they run out of super combos, and then they're just eating this constantly. Card, obviously when out answered, is insane. When it is answered, it's just a 1 mana draw card. But you always have a plethora of red mana, since you're always charging blue-red multi untapped. Now, probably one of my favorite cards, and I guess people might overlook it, is that we're in this together. Like I explained earlier, it just becomes the draw engine on the front side. It also becomes additional pitch fodder for like Topo, and also after a Gogeta 7 and people warp your hand, if you have 2 of these in the drop area, you can always pick up 2, then awaken. Like, if you have these, will always keep you safe from hand destruction, so they can't discard your entire hand, and then you can never awaken again, like what happens with like Broly Surge. So you just pick this up, and this is just the fodder. Then in best case scenarios, you just like tase 3 guys for 1 spell and 1 mana. Like successor decks hate this. You just kill against Jiren, you just killed off their barrier guy, then you play this and you just wipe their board. And you just keep them off their game plan the entire time. Now we did put 2 Topas in here. It's mainly for the Boo matchups and just an additional negate. And in combination with wearing this together, it kind of negates the whole discard effect and just becomes a solid card in general. Alright, now off to the super combos. We have 1 Beer super combo and 3 Backbones. Honestly, I never really needed the untap the entire time. But it was nice to have because I wanted to keep a 3 untap ratio because I only played 2 beans. But most of the time I still just prefer the draw from the Backbone. I don't know what everybody else is doing where they need swear by 4 beers, but I'm just able to manage the mana to where you may only need 1, or sometimes I didn't need it at all for that. Now we played 2 Piccolo Namekian Lineage as my 1-drop, additional 1-drop U7. So on the face value, it becomes a 1 mana U7 you can play to always have your hand rip online with the leader ability, or it just becomes an additional negate that picks up any blue-red card in my drop that I may need, either a Death Beam, a Royal, Tyranny's Cost, Catastrophic, anything. It becomes it recycles itself perfectly fine in the deck. So in some situations I would block with it, and Death Beam an opponent's other battle card he hasn't swung with. This will die, and then pick up the Death Beam for the next battle card he swung with. That way I just negated the opponent's entire turn for virtually nothing. 2 Krillin Battle Masteries. These also work as pseudo Weeses, since you can find World Martial Art Tournament, but also helps find the catastrophic blow in killer situations or any blue-red spell you're missing. And it is additional 1 mana U7 for the leader effect. Alright. Now 2 Beans. Honestly, Beans not as relevant as it was. There's no like 15k swarm deck except like a meta cooler deck, which I guess that would be super relevant in, but I didn't find any of them, nor was I expecting to find any meta coolers. And just being able to untap like once or twice for either going for game or just need that 1 untap to live. That's all it was really used for. Honestly, most of the time I got charged turn 1 to play my tournament Power Arena. Now 4D Magic's pretty stable if you're in a blue deck with blue mana. You're gonna want 4D Magics. Still best negate in the game. Now for the sideboard, we did sideboard into Gogeta 7 for Surge Piccolo and Surge Goku matchups. It's the Path of Greatness is just you go as Union Fusion fodder with the Vegeta Invoker. And that's mainly it. These cards are pretty self-explanatory why they're good. I mean, they just made a whole Dropbox card to stop this effect. Play one Gallic Cannon in the sideboard. It was a Boo for Boo, Jiren. You can just shoot their 1-drop on the turn they play it if you charge the red mana turn 1. And I boarded it one time, but it's just there mainly for Boo. Alright, we are Universe 7 and an extra 6-drop Goku. This was for blue-green Piccolo hand destruction. I needed ways to either recur my threats and or just have an additional threat density because of the random sniping that they do. The Tyranny's cost in sideboard was for mirror matches, blue-green Piccolo, just any matchup I could afford to draw an additional card and I wanted to. One Instinctive Reprisal. This was for Gohan, as it's a negate I can pick back up a leader ability. More things for Gohan. You'll find out I really didn't want to lose to Gohan. Just became cheap negate, a U7, and a pressure back against Gohan to start eating away at their hand. Another all too easy, honestly just strictly for Gohan, and 2 Final Guardians, almost strictly for Gohan. So it's like you can use an all too easy, and the clause of you can't use it again for the turn is nullified by the fact that you can use one of these, and then you always have them sitting in the drop area. So these always count as like 2 negates the entire time, and you can always use with the we're in this together to use fodder as either for all too easy or the Final Guardian since it's a blue-red card. And last but not least, the 3rd topo in the sideboard. You can board it for Gohan or you can board it for Boo. Anybody who's just trying to aggress you and you just felt like you needed the other topo. Alright guys, that was the deck I took to Tournament Power Vegas. I wish I did better, but I ran into a bunch of Surge Q, which is the hardest matchup for the Invoker with Catastrophic build in general, as they have, I mean, the leader ability itself turns off Invokers, which makes a lot of my spells harder to cast, and they can apply a lot of pressure for very little cost. On top of Gogeta 7, Fu Shroud, it's just a rough time. But shoutouts to Duval, played a good game. It was a fun match like always, and yeah. The difference between like the Gogeta 7 variation and then like my variation, the Gogeta 7 in the main board and when you're focused upon it is a lot better going into Surge Q and Surge Piccolo, since those are big hand destruction built decks, but they struggle a little bit more into the mirror match and the what you call, oh my god, I can't think of the name, like Hatchiyak. If you can't really burn Hatchiyak out, or they can just end up negating your Apex turns and then warp them later. Like it's not good there, but overall I think the Gogeta 7 variation has more, I want to say, flexibility into the meta, but against like Jiren, the Catastrophic Blow is better since they can't stop him, and Jiren's Activate Battle is irrelevant to the burn damage from Catastrophic Blow, while you have to kind of sit there and wait with Gogeta 7. But honestly, both are control decks trying to do the same thing, and it just comes down to the baker's choice. You know, which one do you like more? Which one do you enjoy playing more? Which one's better for your meta? Like if you have a bunch of Gohans, you might want to put a couple more all too easies in your drop like that, or just play the Gogeta variation because they play a bunch of negates in the main board. All right, guys. See you next time on the God Strike Report.